people will start using that product. But how do you take this product to market? How do you make people aware that there is a product like this? And how do you convey, the importance of your product to the people who are going to use it? Okay, so we prepare the product for market entry. So this could be in terms of launching new products in new markets, or it could be launching new products in existing markets, or existing products in new markets. So often times, startups are built on innovation. Okay, so we are constantly innovating, constantly trying to build new products to market, new versions of our products to market with a lot of innovation. So go-to-market strategy is also useful when you're trying to bring an existing product with new features into the market. And we also use this go-to-market strategy to test a new product for growth. Okay, so before formally launching the product, we might do a small test, a GTM test, as we call it, go-to-market test of that product before launching it. So what is the goal of the go-to-market strategy? The goal is simply to increase the launch success, which means increase the reach, sell more, and be able to grow your business. People often mix go-to-market strategy with marketing. Okay, so marketing is different from go-to-market strategy, because go-to-market strategy touches upon various aspects of your business. It goes right from how do you convey your product, the communication of the product, what do you build in your product, how do you price your product, what channels you will use to take your product to the market. So it comprises of many aspects of business, okay, which are geared towards making your product successful in the market. Once your go to market is in place, then marketing kicks in, which is an ongoing process. Okay, this is a result of go to market strategy. Okay, this is an ongoing promotion of your product to generate interest and to generate sales. So marketing will focus on promoting a product and generating interest and sales, whereas go to market strategy is like the strategy, how are we going to do this? Okay, so it's like this. If you're going on vacation, you first decide that yes, I'm going to go to this particular place. Okay, this is what I will do there, this is how I will do it, and then you start booking your tickets, booking your hotels and other things, right? The second part, or the operational part, is the marketing part. Okay, and the first part is the go to market strategy. So why is go to market strategy so important? Because in the world of startups, there are a lot of challenges. Okay, when you are trying to launch a product, you are you have very limited resources, so you want to do with what you have. So you do not have the luxury of splurging a lot of money to create your product awareness in the market like the big brands do. Okay, your money is limited, you have a very short runway to perform. What do I mean by short runway? You have so much money from your own pocket or from the investor that you have borrowed. That money is not going to last you a lifetime. Okay, and you don't have too much money in the bank, so you have very limited money. So you need to calculate that yes, this money is going to last me for 6 months. How do I launch in a short period of time and try to generate some money, or try to show the success of my product so that the investors will put in more money? And then finally, obviously, you want to capture the revenue very quickly so that you can grow your business. People often ask me, what is the perfect time or moment to do a go to market strategy? Unfortunately, in the startup world, there is no perfect moment. You have to take the moment and make it perfect. Okay, so unlike a large corporation which is trying to launch products, in the startup world, we need to take a very, very innovative approach when it comes to go to market strategy. Okay, so one is, we will look at how do we disrupt pricing. Okay, if people are licensing, can I give it on a subscription model? Okay, so there are a lot of this strategies or discussions that we will be doing through the course of this session. Also, we try to find out, is there a better way to do things? Is there a newer way to do things? Can I have a different business model? Okay, Can I serve unmet needs which nobody else is doing right now? Can I serve unserved markets? Can I serve rural markets? Can I serve markets in tier 2, tier 3 cities, which have no exposure to a product of this kind? So we put all these things together and decide where we want to launch, how we want to launch, and how we want to present it to people. Okay. Now, I've used a very big word here called business model. So uh, I'm going to cover that in brief to explain to you what do we mean by business model. Okay. So ultimately, you're trying to bring a product or a service to market, and that is your value promise. That's the promise you're making to the customer. That's your product or service. You're telling the customer, this is the product I have. This is what it will do for you. Okay, you should start using my product and pay me for using that product. Okay. Then there is value chain. That is the process by which we are able to build that product and offer it to the customer. Okay, so this will, in a typical tech world or an IT world, it will be your tech staff who's trying to design, create the product, write the code. If it is a hardware product, then obviously the design engineers who are trying to build that particular product. So that's the entire process. Okay, the activities that go to build that particular product and the activities required to take and deliver the product to the customer. So we call that as the value delivery. Okay. Ultimately, what is the goal? The goal is to create value. Okay. The goal is to create value for the customer. So the customer should perceive a lot of value, a lot of benefit from the product that you are delivering. And this is a very important word. If you come to Silicon Valley, we will always be talking about value creation, value capture. It's because the entire system is oriented towards how do we create value for our customers, how do we create value for our employees, how do we create value for our investors. Okay. So what is value creation? Okay, so value creation basically is bringing benefits to the customer. That's what I said. Through your products and services, making it more useful or desirable. Okay, mind the word desirable. The customer should desire your product. Okay, they should be wanting your product and thereby increasing its economic worth. So its value to the customer, okay, it is going to save the customer some money or it is going to earn the customer some money, it is going to be of economic value to the customer. And because there is an economic value that the customer derives or benefit that the customer derives, there is a benefit that the customer derives, the customer is going to give you money, okay, or pay you in some way. It may not always be money. If you are going to Google, what are you going to give Google? You are giving data to Google. Okay. If you are going to YouTube, what are you giving to YouTube? You are giving your time to YouTube. You are giving your engagement to YouTube. And there are ways people take that data or your time and engagement to monetize it. Okay. So there are ways to monetize. Ultimately, the bottom line is somebody's got to make money here. Okay. Because if you don't make money, there is no way you'll be able to run your operation. There'll be no way you'll be able to pay the salaries, and employ people. So revenue, that is the part we call value capture. So you create value for customer and you capture value because of that service or the product that you are providing to the customer. Next comes your value delivery. As I said earlier, this is the process of delivering the value. And when you build that product and deliver it to the customer, you incur certain costs. Okay, you incur certain cost, and your monetization equation is the balance between the revenue and the cost. Okay, so obviously, the value that you're capturing has to be more than the cost you are incurring, at least over a period of time, if not today. Okay, this entire thing is encapsulated into what we call as a business model. Okay, so three things in a business model that you need to focus on: desirability. Okay, that's your value creation part. Feasibility. Can I make this product? Can I make it at a price, which will, make it profitable to put the product out in the market? And is it viable? Okay. So desirability, feasibility, and viability. Desirability is about the customer wanting your product, feasibility about your ability to make that product, and viability is about balancing the equation of money, that yes, it does make economic sense to go with this. Okay. So having seen this, let's focus on the customer. Okay. The customer is buying the product from you. Why is he buying the product from you? Because the customer wants to do a certain job. Okay. And the job that customer wants to do, he will hire your product because the customer is expecting certain outcomes. And when you deliver those outcomes to the customer, you're going to end up with a happy customer. Okay. So customer has a job to do. He takes your product, tries to do that job. Okay. Expects certain outcomes. You deliver those outcomes, and then you have a happy customer. Okay. These outcomes that the customer expects come in three forms. Okay. There are functional outcomes, there are emotional outcomes, and there are social outcomes. Okay, let me explain to you with a simple example of a toothbrush. Okay, you use a toothbrush. What is the functional outcome of the toothbrush? It should remove the food stuck in your teeth and remove the odor. Okay, so that's the functional outcome of the toothbrush. The emotional outcome is for you is I feel very clean after brushing my teeth, and I feel good because I feel clean. And what is the social outcome? That when you're talking to people, there is no bad breath. That's a social outcome. Okay, so and this is a toothbrush example. You take any example, I'll be able to show you the functional, emotional, and social outcome that are attached to it. Whether it is a business to consumer product or service, or whether it is business to business product or service, there is always an emotional and social angle attached to it. And the importance of emotional and social angles is what we are going to see as part of the marketing. How do you leverage that? Okay. So our whole goal initially should be to discover what the customers want and understand the job the users want to get done. Okay. I'll give an example over here of a customer who's trying to buy a frying pan. Okay. And your customer wants a product over here. Do you see there is same product, but two customers have different outcome expectations from the same product because they want to do a different job. That is why it is so important for you to understand that the customer for whom you're targeting
Adu,
that product,
Adu, go party.
the customer for whom you are you're to whom you're for whom you're designing the product, you should very clearly understand what is the job they want done. Okay. I'll give you another example. Okay, so take a look at skateboards. Okay, so if you look at a skateboard, oh, it has got carbon skateboard, it got Swiss bearings, it's got polyurethane wheels and all that. So somebody might pitch to you, okay, this is the best skateboard in the world and things like that. But what you really want is the thrill of using that skateboard, is the ability to show off to people how you are able to use that skateboard. So here again, the skateboard by itself is a functional product, but the outcome that is delivering to you has emotional and social aspect attached to it. Okay. So coming back over here to our concept, let's try to look at now let's try to look at the desirability. Okay, because that is what we should be able to communicate to people. Okay, so the value promise to the customer, the value creation aspect, and that is what is called as the value proposition. Okay, so we are going to now look at this and decide how to frame a value proposition statement. That means, what do we tell the customers? Okay, what is our product? So our value proposition statement should contain these four things. Okay, one is who will benefit. Okay, sometimes it is implied that you know exactly who will benefit from it. Okay, why it matters to the customer, what is the pain point of the customer that you're trying to address, what will they gain from using this product, Okay, you will take care of their pain points. Okay, that you're meeting their minimum requirements. What else will you give them? What will they gain? It's a problem solving capability, the benefits that you're going to deliver. And how will it stand out vis-a-vis the alternatives that the customer has or the competitors that you have in the market? So what is so different and unique about the product that you are bringing to the market? I will take an example of an artificial intelligent accounting agent. Okay, so we have a lot of these startups over here which are working on account accountant agents. Okay, AI, they're all completely AI driven. Okay, they are highly autonomous in nature. So what happens is, you want to keep your books of accounts, so you bring your receipts, bank statements, your payments and everything, and just dump it into the hopper for this AI agent. And this AI agent will look at that, make sense, and write your books of accounts. Okay, earlier you needed Munimji to write your books of accounts. You needed accountants to write your book of accounts. Now the agents can do it. So this is the value proposition. Okay, it's an intuitive, affordable AI agent. Okay, because this is targeted to small business owners, so it is affordable. That automates accounting and financial insights. I could not get financial insights earlier. I was just keeping my books of accounts. Now I'm able to derive financial insights. This is for small business owners so that they can focus on growth, okay, without being worried about the accuracy of bookkeeping. Okay, so this is what is called as a value proposition statement. So if you look at the colors over here, okay, how it stands out, it is an affordable AI agent. Okay, it automates accounting, it provides you financial insights. What will the user gain out of it? Oh, he is now free to focus on growth rather than getting mired in the manual bookkeeping process. Why does it matter? Because he is now taken, the hassle of manual bookkeeping is taken care of, and who is benefiting from it is the user. So in the go-to-market strategy, so first thing is value proposition statement. Without a value proposition statement, you cannot jump into a go-to-market strategy, because what are you going to sell, right? So here is how a go-to-market strategy is designed. So there are three aspects to it: who to sell, how to sell, and what to sell. Okay. So let's start with, and if you look at this triangle, there are three aspects. Saravani Kota, please mute. There are three aspects of business that you're addressing over here: the customer, the product, and the market. Okay. Who to sell and how to sell to the customer. Okay. How to sell in the market and what to sell, how to position in the market. That's the market part of it. So product, what to sell, what features in the product, and again, who is this product intended for, right? So developing a go-to-market strategy is an iterative process. You cannot just sit on the table and one day write a go-to-market strategy and it works. Okay, some of the assumptions you make may not be true, and which is what you will discover, and you will refine your strategy. Okay, until you find the right strategy that is like cast in stone, and then try to implement that. So let's look at who to sell. Okay, let's look at the first part of go-to-market strategy, and who to sell, because that customer is part of the market that you are trying to address. So we need to understand what is the market type that you are going to get into. Okay, are you going to an existing market? you know so there are a lot of people, there is a market already there, and I'm going to be one of the players in that market. Or are you going to say that, okay, there is an existing market, but I'm not addressing that market. I'm addressing a small niche in that market. Okay. So, it might be a niche which is industry specific. It might be niche which is demographic specific. Like, today there are startups coming that, travel, we have travel services for Gen Z. Okay, you're addressing a very, very niche market. Okay, so if you look at companies like Expedia, I don't know the Indian equivalent, is there is an Indian company which is into travel and tourism, right? So that company is broadly offering a travel service. But if I come and say that there are specific services required for Gen Z, or there are specific services required for older people because they cannot climb rocks, they cannot have a very strenuous day when they travel, and these are people maybe 70 plus. They need some mobility help, they need wheelchair access and a lot of other things. So I might be able to design a startup which is addressing a niche market. Sometimes you're addressing a new market. Okay, so new market example, the best example to give you is the space travel market. Okay, so we have Elon Musk over here, who has a company called SpaceX, and they are taking a moonshot approach to see if people can travel to Mars. Okay, so he will start initially with smaller space travel and finally do planetary explorations to see, are there livable planets that we can go at. So a completely new market. Nobody had thought of this market before. Everything was an experiment that was being done by the companies like NASA, but that's where he's going. And finally, you have a clone market. So clone market, you know, I see a lot of cloning of products and services that happen in India. Okay, so the classic example of a cloning that comes to my mind is Flipkart. Okay, so Flipkart founders were actually working for Amazon. Okay, and then they found that the way Amazon is doing it's not correct. Okay, let's clone Amazon and bring that to India. So they did cloning. Okay, so they saw this e-commerce market booming. They said, let's try to do exactly that for the Indian market. But when you clone, you're just not copying. Okay, if you copy, you will fail. Okay, because what Amazon does in US does not apply in India. That's why Amazon was not successful in India in the earlier stages. And Flipkart saw that opportunity. What they said is Amazon has a problem with payment. In India, there are no credit cards. Okay. The credit card penetration is very, very dismal and poor. We are talking about things which are 10, 12, 15 years ago, right? There is no credit card. So they introduced a concept of pay on delivery. Okay. They introduced the concept of pay on delivery. So you don't have a credit card, doesn't matter. I will deliver the product. When I deliver the product, you pay me. Okay. So that is how, even when you clone, you bring a different aspect to the startup idea. In an existing market, you have to convince people that you have a much superior product. Okay, so that's why it is important to understand which market you are entering. If you are entering a niche market, you have to convince people that your newer product addresses their need better than a generic product will do. In a new market, it's a very immature and nascent market, right? It's a moonshot, as we call it. Okay, it is trying to convince people to try a new product for a need that was unexpressed and unmet. Because it was unexpressed, it was unmet. Okay, so knowing your product now, what you're going to do is you're going to choose your target market. Okay, you can't be everything to everyone. Okay, so you're going to pick the size of the market where
Excuse me.
you're going to fight.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes,
Hello.
Kamal.
Can you please repeat the previous slide? I was just taking notes. Please, sir, it's just a request.
This one,
Sir, previous, one more.
this
Yes,
one,
sir.
right?
Wait a minute.
So when you're entering an existing market, you have to convince people that you have a better product than anybody else, right? So a lot of EVs now. You are bringing a new EV to the market. You have to convince people that my EV has no anxiety in terms of the mileage. Okay. If you're going to a niche market, you have to convince them that this product is basically meant for you. The generic product doesn't work, don't work for you. And if you're going to an absolutely new market, which is a very, very, which
Excuse me.
is an undiscovered market, okay,
Hello.
then yes.
Sir, can you please explain what is niche market?
So niche market, I explained earlier. So let's take the case of travel company like Make My Travel. Okay. You are aware of Make My Travel?
Yes, sir.
Make My Trip, right? Or Make My Trip in India. There is this travel company. So what it does, it helps you plan your travel, correct? Anybody can go, any travel, they can book the tickets, they can book your car, they can book your hotels, everything, right? But Make My Trip may not be suitable for Gen Z, Generation Z. Okay, this is the younger people, because younger people have different requirements when it comes to travel. They are explorers, they want adventure. Okay, so they don't run of the mill stuff that I will go to a hotel, or I'll go to an Oyo room. They want to discover the world very differently. So, a new startup might come up and say, hey, I have this travel company which caters to Generation Z, because I understand that needs, and I'm going to I have designed something which gives them the experience that they're looking for. Is that clear now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so this is about the markets. Having found the markets, you are like I said, the world is not your market. Okay, you can't be everything to everybody. So you have to pick and choose where are you going to fight your battles, and you're going to pick your target market. Okay, how do you pick your target market? Target market is the population that is interested in your product, and that is the one which has the propensity to pay. That means this is a product, this is a market that has money to pay for your product. If they don't have the money to pay for your product, you'll be wasting your time, right? So you'll pick and choose a market accordingly. You will pick and choose a market that is growing. Okay, it's not a stagnant or a declining market, a market that is growing. You will choose a market which you can access easily. If you cannot break into that market, you have a problem. Can you access that market? Okay, for example, if you suddenly sitting over here say that, okay, I have designed this fancy product and this will work in Korea. Okay, you have no access to the Korean market. There's no point picking the target market. Okay, I will give an example closer to the home. Let's say you have designed a product which is very useful for pharmaceutical companies. You have no network, nobody that you know in the pharmaceutical industry. There is no way you can talk to anybody there. There is no way you can target that market, right? So unless you know how to access that market, that cannot become your target market. And finally, the market concentration. Okay, so you want a market that is homogeneous and also geographically concentrated. Okay, for example, if you pick a market which is scattered all over India. Okay, if you pick a market which is scattered all over India, the amount of time and money that you are going to spend to familiarize them with your product or to make them aware of your product is going to be humongous. Okay, so you want to pick a niche market, a smaller market. You are going to say that, okay, hey, I'm going to pick this market in Madhya Pradesh. Okay, and I'm going to pick the market around Indore. Okay, so your now geographic concentration is very limited. Your market is there in that Indore market, for example. Okay, those are the people who want to buy your product. Okay, so your communication becomes very easy, right? Okay, the social media or the press, the language in which you communicate becomes very easy. If you're going all over the map across India, then you have a language problem. You have problems with cultural acceptances of that product and so on. Okay, so market concentration becomes really important. Once you pick the target market, it's not about the market, but it is about the segments in that market. That means you are going to make granular segments of that market which best fit your value proposition. Okay, so you have come to the product and you have saying that this is the value that I create for my customers. Okay, who are the customers in your target market who will be interested in this? You're going to find that. Okay, for example, today morning I had a startup that was designing an electronic medical record system for doctors. So he said EMR systems or electronic medical record system that keep patient history are available in large hospitals. But smaller clinics don't have access to that. And because of that, they do not have a way to have continuity in patient interactions. So he said, I'm going to design an EMR. Okay. So he said, okay, great. You design an EMR. Okay. Who is the doctor who will use your EMR? So we immediately saw about three, four segments there. Okay. We said, there are doctors who are offering holistic treatment, Ayurvedic treatment or homeopathic treatment. They would be interested. There are doctors who are catering to older patients, okay, who have chronic ailments like diabetes, heart, you know, deep vein thrombosis, and so on. He can cater to them. There are general practitioners, physical practitioners, he can cater to them. There are physiotherapists, he can cater to them. So immediately looking at the target market, he said, my target market is in Nasik. Okay, this is a city in Maharashtra. In that, I have this different types of doctors. Okay, so he's now trying to understand which doctor would really love to buy his product. Okay, so he will do a process of trying to gaining insights from these doctors. So usually what happens is, we try to look our product in terms of how high is the need of that product for that segment, and how high are the benefits that you deliver from your product. So the segment with high need, who see a lot of benefit from your product, are the segments that you really want to look at, right? Now, having looked at all the segments, what you're going to do next is you're going to try to find which are the attractive segments. Okay, which are my low hanging fruits? Okay, which are the segments that I can have buy my product immediately? Okay, so, and which are the segments, these are very important for me. Okay, so how do we find attractive target segments? Segments which have very high value for your business, and segments who have a strong need. Their pain is very dire, their pain is very intense, that they have to go for a solution. Okay, so those are the ones you will try to focus on. So you saw that bullseye there, right? Okay, so those are the attractive segments. Apart from a high value for your business, apart from strategic value for your business, see, sometimes you will say, I will go after a segment which is very vocal, and they're going to keep talking about my product, and they're going to share about my product experiences on social media, which will get across a word of mouth and bring me more customers, right? So that's the high value for your business. Apart from this, you are also going to see that this is a high growth market, which means it's a market that is growing annually at a certain rate. I have just put a random figure here, 15%. It depends on the nature of your industry that you're targeting. It is cost effective. That means I don't spend a huge amount of money to reach that market. Okay, I have a very easy way to reach those people out there. Okay, so I'm targeting, let's say, Nasik. I have a small newspaper and a local social media which a lot of people subscribe to. I can just use that without spending too much of money. Do you have resources to deliver the benefits? Okay, so this is again why the geographic concentration is again important, because as a startup, you're a bunch of very few people. Okay, so do you have enough resources to reach out and deliver the product and explain the benefits and handhold your customers till they're comfortable with the product? You also want to look at the target markets where you can offer better alternatives than your competitors do. Okay, for example, let's say this EMR, he's trying to position in Nasik. Okay, in it's a city in Maharashtra. He's trying to position there because he's based there. Okay, any other EMR provider comes, he can kick him out. He can say, see, look, I'm local, I'll provide you support. You call me, I'm there in 2 hours, okay, to help you sort out your problem. Okay, so there are various ways that you can see how you will win over the competition. And finally, you know, that market has to make sense. Sorry. Finally, that market has to make sense if they don't have the paying capacity, or if that market is not profitable enough for you that you cannot price a product to recover your cost, then you may have to think twice, okay, whether you should enter that market or not. Now, once you decide on the target market, what is the strategy you will use to enter that market? Okay. Are you going to go head on with the market leaders and say it is a better version of the product that you're using right now? Okay. So it's a better me concept that we try to use over here. Okay. The other way is to go with in an add-on mode. Okay. So you don't want to disrupt what the customer is using already. You want to say, oh, great, I think you are using an EMR already. I'm not providing you an EMR. I'm providing you with a wellness app which will use your EMR data and provide wellness advice to your patients. Okay, so you might launch a product as an add-on. Okay, you might launch a product as a breakthrough product, which means we call it 10x over here in Silicon Valley. That means it is 10 times better than what is available in the market. Okay, so that's where you talk about a 10x product. Okay, so usually what happens is customers have a lot of anxiety switching from an old product to a new product. So unless you have something substantial, something very, very unique, okay, and very highly differentiated, it might not move the needle for you. So that's where we say, is your product 10x better than what's available out there in the market?
Excuse me, sir.
Sometimes, yeah,
So can you again explain better me one?
better me is very simple. Better me is very simple. Better me is, I'm better than the competitor. I'm better than the competitor because of following reasons. I'm better than the competitor because I'm close to you. I'm better than the competitor because I'm small company. I can address your needs better. I'm better than your competitor because I offer these features which are currently missing in the product that you use. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Or you can go in as a new category. You can define a category. So classic example is Starbucks. Okay. I think you have Starbucks in India, or you have Coffee Day, Coffee Day, right?
Right,
Uh,
both.
yeah. Yeah. So so what they did was, the conventional category was coffee. Okay. So Starbucks changed that game completely. They said we are introducing a new category. This is not just coffee. This is coffee with an ambience. Okay. So we are providing you the space to socialize with your people. So this becomes like an adda where you come, you meet people, you have coffee, you have access to Wi-Fi, you have nice music running, and the barista makes specially the coffee for you. So every coffee is different. It's not like a mass-produced coffee that you just pour and drink, right? So that's how they launched this as a new category. That's called as a new category. Or you see lot of your competitors are in big cities. Okay, they are in Delhi, Bangalore, Mumbai, and Calcutta, Kolkata, and so on. Okay, so you say that, see, look, I'm going to target this small geography in Jabalpur, okay, where they don't have access to this kind of products. So you might go to a completely new geography where the competitors are missing. Okay, so that is called as a new geography. Or you could go in a very, very disruptive way. Okay, you could go and say that, I am addressing a need which was not addressed before. Okay, so there is a startup that I've come across, okay, right here in India. They do deep vein thrombosis. Okay, you see this DVTs that come on your calves on your legs. Okay, you will see irregular veins there. Okay, and they can create a lot of problem. They can be painful. They can create clots. Okay, people can die because of that. And so usually to analyze that, you have to go to the hospital. Okay, so people in rural areas have to drive several kilometers to go to the hospitals and get that done. Okay, so not easily accessible. So this girl has designed a DVT cuff. Okay, it's like a cuff that you put on your leg, and you can it has a display device that instantly analyzes and tells you, the diagnosis right there. Okay, you don't need clinical expertise, you don't need clinical setting. It does. It's very, very disruptive because it is addressing an unmet need, and it is addressing the need in an underserved market. Okay, like tier 3 cities, tier 4 cities, they don't have access to these hospitals, right? They have to go to tier 2 cities to access the hospitals. So, that's what they are, it's offering. So there are various ways. So you have to sit back and think, yes, this is my value proposition, this is my target segment, this is the segment where my value proposition resonates very well. And this is the segment I really want to go after. Okay, I want to hone in on this segment and go after. Okay, so having decided what is my market entry strategy? How do I enter that market? Okay. Now there are again, doing this is great. There are two other ways, two add-ons to this. Okay. One is, are you going to do this organically? Okay. Which means, building up your own operations, launching in a new market, going through your own efforts and so on. Okay. Or are you going through partnerships? Okay, which means, you will find a distributor, okay, to take your product to the market, or you'll partner with another company who has the sales experience, who says, okay, yeah, I sell similar products. Okay, I can also sell your product. So are you going to do this on your own, or are you going to partner with somebody and take the help of the people? I will not cover acquisitions and franchising because they are not for your level of startups. Next is what to sell. Okay, so we have a value proposition, okay, that we are saying this is what we are going to sell. But now comes a very interesting part, which is about how do you position your brand, how do you position it in terms of price, and how do you do competitive positioning of your product. Okay, so you want to differentiate on all these three counts. Okay, that I position it differently in terms of the brand, in terms of price, and in terms of the competition. Okay, and we will take a look at that. Okay, so we understood customers, jobs to be done to make things people want. Correct. Now we are going to look at messaging and communication, because we want to make people want the things you make. Okay, so we want to make people want the things you make. Okay, so here let me start with the branding part of it. Okay, what is a brand? Okay, a lot of people think, I made this nice logo, nice tagline, my product has a nice value proposition, so that's a brand. That's not a brand. Okay, brand is an identity that you build through your product positioning, the personality you create around your company, and the experiences you deliver. Okay, the way you deliver that experience that resonates with your audience. Okay, and we are going to take some examples over here, so you will understand that better. Okay, so basically, what will the brand do? It will differentiate your company. Okay, so moment they spell out the name of a brand, moment they say FIDA, like, you saw Vaibhav, he said, okay, he looks at B2B companies. So I created that brand, right? I've differentiated. I'm not like any other investor. I only invest in business to business companies, right? And I only invest in very high tech companies. Okay. I invest in very high tech companies. Okay. The brand will help you build, loyalty. Okay. If you deliver good experiences, if you develop good products, if you give the customers what they want, they will want to come back to you for more. Okay. And this will drive your long-term success. Okay. This will drive your long-term success. So the brand that you create has to be recognizable. It has to be memorable. That is a recall value. The brand has to have a recall value. For example, a new toothpaste that comes in the market, right? If you don't remember, oh, I use this toothpaste, but I don't remember the name, there is no way you're going to buy that toothpaste again, right? Okay, so it has to be memorable. It can be made memorable in various ways. It can be made memorable by the name that you give to your product, by the way you design the product experience or the product packaging. There are various aspects that go into it. Okay. So so when you say brand, it will make you recognizable, it will make you memorable, and it will make you valuable. Okay. So let's come to brand message. Okay. How do we create a brand message? So I'm going to take this example of Steve Jobs. So we spoke about values, right? So see, he also says this again here. Marketing is about values. Okay. It is a complicated and noisy world, and we are not going to get a chance to get people to remember much about us. No company is going to have that. So we have to be very clear about what we want them to know about us. Okay. So don't try to pack too many things in your brand message. Keep your brand message simple so that the customer only remembers what you want them to remember. Okay. Not what they choose to remember, what you want them to remember. Okay. That is very vital. Okay. What you
Excuse me, sir, 1 minute. I just have a question. You're speaking about brands. I just want to know what is the difference between a company name and a brand name. Okay, which is the subset and which is a superset? Like, is the company the superset and the brand comes under the company, or what's the difference between the
Hey,
company?
you have asked Susmita, you asked a very, very interesting question. Okay. Let me give you an example over here. Okay. You take the example of Hindustan Liver. Okay.
Oh,
So
okay.
Hindustan Liver has this brand called Liril. Okay.
Okay.
Lot of people don't know that what is the company. They know only the brand.
Okay, yeah.
Surf is the
Yeah,
brand
yeah.
of liver. You know surf. You ask somebody, in town, in smaller town, you use surf. हाँ हम surf use करते हैं. Okay. He will tell you the competitors of surf like Nirma and so on. He said, who makes surf? He says, I don't know. Right?
Yeah.
Because he knows surf. So you understand, right? The hierarchy.
Oh, yes, sir.
You have to decide whether people want to remember the company or people want to remember the brand. You know Wix? You know Wix, Susmita?
Yes, sir.
Who makes Wix?
Not sure. I think, no, I'm not sure.
Richardson Hindustan.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the company. Do you remember the company or the brand?
The brand. Yeah.
Yeah, so you have to choose what so that's what he says. Okay, what we want them to know about us is very important rather than what they want to know
So
about.
you're talking about Apple and Steve Jobs. So what is the company name and what is the brand? So brand is no, the company is Apple and the brand is iPhone,
Exactly.
is
So
it?
so over here, no, over here, he has branded Apple, the company itself.
Okay.
Okay, and all these products like iPhone, iPad, Mac, MacBook Pro, and all that, these are products of that brand. So
Okay.
it is an Apple iPhone, it is an Apple iPad, it is an Apple MacBook. Okay, you will always associate that with Apple. Okay,
Okay.
so these are different strategies that people use. Okay,
So in this case, the company name is equal to the brand name.
correct.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so there are two things to remember when you are trying to define your brand message. One is, what is the brand promise? Okay, as a brand, what are you promising? Okay, what does Apple promise? Apple says, I'm not like HP or anything. Okay, it doesn't compare, Apple doesn't compare itself with other people at all. At all. They say, we offer greatest experiences to people and help them do their jobs better. Okay, that's it. We offer very unique experiences, and everything is so seamless in Apple, right? Okay, let me okay, I'll give you some example later on also. So so initially Apple did not resonate well with people. It takes a long time for a brand to resonate with people. Okay, so Apple was very popular, so Apple picked up a target market of designers. Okay, creative people. Okay, they were using Apples. Okay, so if you go back 20 years or 25 years, hardly anybody touched Apple. Okay, it was only these designers, creative people, graphic designers who were using Apple. Okay, later on you see the way they expanded that product. Okay, they started resonating with more and more people because they made that product. You 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 remember one thing, always start with a small sliver of the market. Okay, do not, that's why I said in that slide earlier, right, choose your target market first. Okay, the whole world is not your market. Okay, and later on you can start capturing that. Okay, so in a brand promise, you want to resonate, you want the customers to say, hey, this is what I want, this is what the brand is promising. And we'll take an example here. Okay, and differentiate. Okay, how am I different from somebody else? Second, reason to believe. Okay, so you will say great things about your brand, but then people should believe you, right? So you should be able to substantiate what you are saying in your brand message. You should be able to substantiate that. Let's take an example of Godrej. Okay, I've taken this Indian example. Godrej's brand message is very simple: advanced cooling solutions that keep you fresh longer while committing to eco-friendly practices for a sustainable future. Okay, what is the brand promise? Freshness and sustainability. Okay, that is the brand promise in short. Correct? How do they substantiate it? Why should I believe that Godrej offers freshness and Godrej products are sustainable? Because they have a very high ratings around durability and cooling performance. They have pioneered 100% green refrigerator with 5-star energy ratings, okay, by the Bureau of Energy Efficiency. So that is what is called as substantiation. Okay. So similarly, as you start building your brand in a market, you are going to look at customer references. You are going to look at customers' ratings and reviews for you. Okay. That will help you substantiate that your product is really delivering the promise that you are making. Any question? No. Okay. So now, there are two things we spoke about, right? We spoke about value proposition and we spoke about a brand promise, right? Okay. These two things are very, very different. Okay. So that's what I'm going to explain to you now over here. Okay. Value proposition is about what the product does for you. Okay. You are harping on the functional aspect of the product and how the solution is unique and better than the competitors. That's your proof point. Okay. This is what you're doing with the value proposition. So what is Godrej's value proposition? Godrej's value proposition is Godrej refrigerators provide high efficiency cooling while reducing your energy cost by 20% with an eco-friendly technology. Okay. You looked at their brand promise, which is very different. They never spoke about 20%, but 20% cooling efficiency is important when the customer is making the purchase. So that's the value proposition, right? What the brand message? So the brand message is different from value proposition because it stands for how it makes you feel, how you make your customer feel, the emotional, the social aspect of it, and the identity that you give to it, right? So, like delivering advanced cooling systems that keep your food fresh longer while committing to eco-friendly practices for a sustainable future. Okay. So, emotionally, he's hooking you upon this thing that I am worried about sustainable future. Okay, this is a very, very social aspect of my business, that I'm not about making money, I'm also about providing a sustainable future. Okay, he's giving you an emotional tag, okay, of keeps my food fresh longer. Okay, hey, if I buy groceries, I'm going to keep my food fresh for longer. Okay, my sabjis, my fruits will stay longer. Now they rot in this other fridge that I use. Okay, so it gives you that emotional comfort, and it gives an identity to the entire Godrej refrigerator brand. Okay, so look at this again. Okay, look at the brand message here again. Okay, advanced cooling solutions, eco-friendly practices. Okay, you feel very great. I'm buying an advanced cooling solution. Okay, I'm not buying the run of the mill cooling solution. and eco-friendly practices, right? So it gives you that social. So I'll give you one more example over here. Okay, this is Revlon. Okay, they make lipsticks and nail polish and cosmetics basically. And this is the quote by Charles Revson, who is the owner of Revlon. Revlon was established in 1932, and he continued to run this company till he died. And other people took over this company. So he said that in the factory we make cosmetics, in the stores we sell hope. Okay. So what is Revlon trying to sell here? Are they trying to sell lipstick and nail polish? Anybody? What is Revlon trying to sell here? They're not
So,
selling
according
lipstick.
to their
Sorry?
sir, I'm speaking. According to me, Revlon is especially focusing on psychological factor of customers. Like they are attracting the customers to buy their product by by setting brand ambassadors. Like that lady is a brand ambassador. So
So what are they
particular,
selling? What are they selling? They're
they're selling.
selling a new me.
Yes, sir.
Okay. They're selling a new me that, I will be different. I will have my own identity. I will look very different. I will look nice. I will look very attractive. So that's what they're trying to sell, a new me, an identity of yours that you can enhance, okay, because of this product. So once you decide on your brand messages and value proposition, they will all go into this, your your competitive analysis, positioning, executive summary, corporate presentation, elevator pitch. They'll go into all your marketing communication. So next comes your price positioning. Okay.
Sir, just a second. Sorry, sir, I'm not a participant, but I have a question. Sir, we talked about three things: functional value proposition, emotional, and social. Do you think emotional and social are also very relevant when we are doing a B2B business? Do you think they're
Yeah.
equally relevant?
Yes. Yes. So I'll give the same example of the EMR. Okay. Because I was doing that EMR thing today. Okay, so I'll give the same example of an EMR. Okay, functionally, what it is trying to do is it is giving an EMR system to the doctors and clinics. Okay, emotionally, the doctor is now feeling very good that he is able to provide proactive care. Now he has the patient history. When the patient comes to him, you don't ask. He doesn't have to ask patient. पिछली बार कौन सी गोली दी थी? Okay, पिछली बार कब आए थे? आपके क्या बीमारी थी? He doesn't have to ask any of these questions, right? Because it is right there on his records. So emotionally, he feels that yes, he is very proactive in his health, and if he finds that the patient has not visited him when he is supposed to visit him after a few days, he can ask his assistant to call him up. Okay, so it becomes a proactive care. Emotionally, he feels very good that I'm taking care of my patients. Socially, also it is very important because the patient now builds a trust and confidence. Okay, and so doctor's credibility increases in the social circles. Okay, so that's how functional, social, and emotional. Even if a company is buying a manufacturing part from you, there is a social and emotional aspect attached to it. Okay, so for example, the person who is buying from you, who is making that buying decision, okay, he needs to feel emotionally very upbeat. So we always say that make the person who is buying your buyer a hero in the company when you're doing B2B sales, right? He should
Correct.
feel very good about the decision he has made. So that's an emotional aspect of it, right? The social aspect of it is, when the decision he has made is working very well, or the company has adopted this new technology, they are able to talk about it, right? Hey, we are ahead. We are now using generative AI to do our work. Okay. So it's social aspect attached to it, although it's a business to business. Answers your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
So let's come to price positioning. Okay. So pricing is very simple. Okay. So here is what this guy, Steve Walsky, he's a board member of a company called Synopsys over here. He's been the board member from 1991. He says, my business is very simple. My customers give me $2. and they get back $10. That's why we are so successful. Okay. What is $10? $10 is value creation. That is the perceived value by the customer. That is the value that the customer is extracting from your product. But the customer is only paying you $2. So his customer is very happy. I'm getting $10 worth when I'm spending only $2. Okay. So that is where the equation is. Okay. So that's, you should always remember this, that you are going to create a far more value for the customer than the value that you are capturing from the customer. Okay. So that will be the success formula, or what you call as monetization equation. So there are these four basic ways of setting a pricing. Okay. So setting your pricing is, one is the skimming. Okay. Skimming means you initially set a very high price to maximize your profits. Okay. And then when more and more people come in, when the competition becomes intense, you start lowering your prices. Okay. So two things happen over here. A, you are protecting yourself from the competitors by doing a price rationalization later on. And second, you are the demand is growing, and that's why you can actually avail of economies of scale and reduce your price. So it's called the skimming technique. Okay. And people use skimming very nicely. For example, Sony, they launched PlayStation, which is a gaming console. Okay. They set initially at a very high price, and then later on, as it started getting popularity and more people started buying, they had to protect it from Nintendo, and they started lowering their prices. Okay. So to give you an example, in India, take an example of Bajaj Auto. Okay, they had this Pulsar motorcycle that was introduced at a very high price. Okay, because they are targeting motorbike enthusiast. Okay, seeking very advanced ride, and but over time, Bajaj adjusted the prices to appeal to a broader market segment. So that's called skimming. The second thing is economy pricing. Economy pricing means offer a basic product, offer a no frills product at a lower price to attract price sensitive customers. Okay. So you must have seen a lot of airlines do that. Okay. So earlier, when we used to travel, we used to get a very royal treatment traveling in the airlines. Okay. The air hostesses will usher you to the seat. They will be taken to the lounge at the airport. You'll be given coffee and biscuits there. Then on the flight, you'll be given nice magazines to read. You will be given good food and things like that, right? It doesn't happen now. Okay. A lot of airlines are K. Joshi, don't make annotations on the screen. Okay. It will disturb others. So here is what these companies do. They say that we will give you a basic service. People want to go from place A to place B. Okay. They're not interested in your food and everything. So they will cut down the price. Instead of, you're buying a ticket from Bombay to Delhi for 15,000, they'll give you the ticket for 8,000, and they will cut on all this other nonsense. And because of that, they have lower staff. Okay. They have lower weight to carry because they're not carrying the food, which means, economy on the fuel and so on. Okay. So they are able to cut this price. So this is economy pricing. There is one company that I always mention when it comes to economy pricing, and I still eat those biscuits, okay, over here after living here for so many years, and that's Parle biscuit. Okay, Parle products, Parle G biscuit is available at an incredibly low price and focusing on affordability to cater to mass market. Okay, and that's been their business philosophy on that particular product. Okay, over here, you'll be shocked. For $1, I can buy so many Parle biscuits. Okay, it's really, I'm amazed. Okay, so even here they have kept the same low price sensitivity because there are no Indians are sensitive to prices, right? Even if they live in the US. So Parle biscuit is a great example of that. Let's come to maximization. Basically, it's called profit maximization. Okay, so here you're going to target a high paying segment first. Okay, and you are going to maximize your profit from that high paying segment. Okay. This is very often the case with pharmaceutical companies. When they come with a drug, okay, because they have spent a lot of money on R&D and so on, they make that drug available at a very high price. It becomes like an exclusive patented drug that is available to only few people who can afford it. Okay. And later on, they try to look at the lower segments over there. Okay. Tesla did this very well. Okay, when Tesla first introduced their car, they introduced a car called Roadster, which was a sports EV. Okay, sports four-wheeler, electric vehicle on the road, and it was very high priced. Okay, it was priced almost like Porsche. Okay, and people still bought it because there was a novelty attached to it. Okay, and that's where he introduced, and he said, I need to I need to maximize my profit because I want to put this profit in building better cars and building sustainable energy and so on. Okay, so that's where he went. So that's the maximization part of it. Then there is penetration. Okay, so in penetration, what happens in pricing penetration? You introduce a product at a low price, quickly gain market share, and attract customers from your competitors. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to steal customers from your competitors, okay, to gain market share, and that's the penetration pricing. So you're doing price penetration, you're doing comparative with your competitor, and say, okay, he's positioning this product. He's let's say cinema house, okay. You have the same cinema running somewhere else, at one place you're paying 250 rupees, and another place you're paying 175 rupees. Where will you go? It's the same screen size and everything, okay. You're trying to gain that market share and popularity, okay. And then finally comes, sorry, and then I think
So one question here for penetration, you're saying gain market share and disrupt. What do you mean by disrupt here?
yeah, so good, again, very good question. Okay, what do you mean by disrupt? Disrupt means throw the competitor out completely.
Okay.
Okay, so what you do is you try to introduce a very unique product. You are able to introduce that product at very low price. Okay,
Okay.
so people who are not using that product, non-users or non-customers, okay, start using your product. Okay, that's what is called as disruption. So one is stealing customers, the other is trying to gain non-customers. So in your product category, you are making, let's say, a soft drink. Okay, there are people who are not drinking that soft drink at all, at all. Okay, because we call soda over here because it has bicarbonate, it has sugar, and it has so many things, right? So people are not eating it, drinking it at all. So how do I disrupt that? So how do I introduce a product, which is better than that soft drink, and which is also which people who are not drinking soft drinks are going to drink. So I introduce something called as a vitamin water. I introduce a vitamin water, which is a healthy water, okay, which tastes like a soft drink, which is cheaper than a soft drink. Okay, so these people who are, so do you understand disruption now? I've
So
disrupted
it
the market.
means basically it means innovation. You're going to innovate an existing product so that you
Everything,
cater.
everything, everything we are talking about here today is innovation.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Everything they are talking about is innovation. Whether you are innovating on price, whether you are innovating on your brand strategy, innovating on value proposition, startup fundamentally are built on innovation. Period.
Okay,
No
sir.
innovation, no product. It's a lifestyle business. That's not a startup.
Okay.
And finally, you have this premium luxury markets, right? Where, here these markets are largely driven by exclusivity, luxury, catering to their emotional desires and their value system. So it's the rich and the famous, okay, who are going to buy this. So it's a premium pricing. So For example, I know of jute rugs that I would buy for something like 500 rupees or 600 rupees in India from in Kolkata. Okay, the same jute rugs are sold to elite customers in the US for something like $3,000 because you create that exclusivity around that brand. You do a luxury pricing because you're giving that white glow experience to that customer. You're not just saying that, buy this on Amazon jute product. You're rolling it in a nice bag. Somebody is going to deliver that. Somebody is going to roll it out. You're giving what is called as a white glove service. Okay. The pricing strategy is very important for you because once you choose the strategy, you know all your sales, marketing, product and engineering falls in line. Because you cannot just price without if your engineering keeps on making an expensive product. So you have to tell engineering, say, look, no frills, I want a cheaper product because that's what my market will take. Okay, I want a disruptive product which is very different. That's what we have to make. So all of those will fall in line. So basically, the other things in pricing consideration obviously is, you know how much does it cost. So you don't want to price a product lower than what it is costing except to gain the market share, as we seen earlier. Okay, economic factors. Okay, sometimes what happens is, the country is going through recession. Okay, or the segment that you're addressing is going through economic turmoil. Okay, let's say older people losing their pensions and things like that. Some regulations have come in. So there can be external factors which you need to be aware of and price accordingly. Okay, so in a recessionary trend, people will lower the prices. Okay, because otherwise the products are not selling, right? So those are the things that come in. Competitors pricing, very important for you to understand. you know I might decide to price my product higher than the competitor, saying that, hey, my product is meant for a different market. The competitors is a generic market. I am in a niche market for a specific set of customers. What I'm delivering, the competitor can never hope to deliver. Okay, so I'm going to price it higher. Positioning, how you want people to perceive your product, and obviously the customer's desire to pay. Okay, the customer profile. Who are you targeting? Are you targeting the customer with no money or targeting customer with too much money or in between? Okay. So those are the things that you will have in the pricing consideration. We will come to competitive positioning, and this is a very interesting subject because a lot of people, a lot of startups, when you talk to them, who is the competitor? I don't have any competitor. I'm the only game in town. Never happens like that. Okay. You may not have a competitor, but you may have alternate solutions. Okay, that people want to get the job done, they will find a way to do the job. Okay, maybe manually, maybe using something else which is not highly optimal. Okay, so you need to always find out, who am I fighting, who's the competitor. Or I may not have a company as a competitor. I may have, my competitor is his manual way of doing things. Okay, that's my competitor, right? So competitive positioning. Now, let's assume that you have competitors in the market and you are positioning your product there. What you need to look for is what we call as the value wedge. Okay. You look at these three circles. One is what the market wants, one is what your business is offering, and one is what your competitors are offering or the alternative solutions out there in the market. Okay. So what your business is offering and what the market wants is called your value wedge. When you talk in your communications, you must emphasize on this because that's what your customer wants, that's what you deliver, and that's what your competitor does not deliver. That's your value wedge. Here lies your value proposition. Okay. Next is, there is an area where your competitor is offering something which your customer wants and you are not offering that. That's a value threat, right? And you should find out, how do you diminish that? How do you mitigate that? And how do you differentiate from that? Okay, so you need to find out a way for you to say, hey, what he is offering is not required. Basically, you don't require it because what I'm giving you more than enough takes care of your current job. Okay. So you need to find a way to differentiate from that and to mitigate that. So that is your value threat. If you don't address value threat, okay, the customers will continue to look at your competitors and try to flock to them. Okay. Then you have value parity. Okay. There are certain features of your product. There are certain features of your product. Hello, Ishanavi, please mute. Yeah. There are certain features of your product that overlap with your competitors. That's the value parity. Okay. So if you try to harp on those features, oh, I got this, my competitor has this, I got this, my competitor has this, I got this. So here you are offering something which is very similar to your customer. It is a situation where customers say, who is giving me better price? If both of you are same, all the discussion will be around pricing. You don't want to be in that situation at all in a startup. And then you are having a product with certain features, and the competitor is having a product with certain features, but the customer doesn't require these features, so who cares? You should immediately get rid of those things, because you're not competing here at all, right? So now focus on the value wedge, and then you also want to find out how will I evolve, how will I innovate to keep ahead of the competition. So this is your next market focus. This is where you will uncover latent needs of the customer, which are not expressed, but you know that the customer requires this, and if I provide that, I will be able to steal more customers from my competitor. Okay. So once you understand your competitors, your value wedge, you will obviously have a feature comparison. Okay. Our company, primary competitor, secondary competitor, tertiary competitor, feature 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. How do you find your value wedge? You will find that there are certain features only that are providing your value wedge. Okay. So you will only harp on those features. Okay. Those are the most critical features, and the other features that you have are just like checklist item. आप ये देते हो क्या? हाँ देते हैं. आप ये देते हो क्या? हाँ देते हैं. बट वो इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है. ये देखो, ये दिस 5 things are really important for you. Okay. So don't overload your product with features, because adding features does not mean adding value. Okay. A feature has to be really useful to the customer, then it adds value. Okay. So when this is a typical quadrant that people use, to understand their competitive landscape. And you will see people positioning their products like this, and they will always try to put their product on the top right hand quadrant. Okay, so that is supposed to be the winning quadrant. That is supposed to be the differentiated quadrant. That's where people want to be, on the top right hand side of the quadrant of the 4 areas. Okay. So this is how we define the competitive landscape. How will you define the axis is really important. Okay. So a lot of people try to cook up the axis in a way that their logo comes on the top. Okay. But if you go to an investor, they will immediately find out, and they will tell you, this guy is gaming this whole quadrant just to show himself in the top right hand corner, and you'll create a very bad impression on the investor. So how do you define the axis? One is, your x-axis should be how you differentiate yourself from the competitors, and your y-axis should be the importance of your product to the customer. Okay. What is what is it that the customer expects, which is important to the customer, where you rank very high? What is it that you differentiate from your competitors, where you rank very high? That is where your logo should appear. And always remember, being better than your competitors is not good enough. What is important is how important you are to the customer, the goal of the user, and not your product. Okay. Always have customer centricity in mind. The goal of the user and not your product defines your competition. Okay. So don't look, from your perspective, from your point of view, from your POV, okay, the competition. Look at it from customer's perspective. What is important for him? Okay, that's how you will define your competition. Okay, and see that when you plot this on this axis for your investors, that this axis matter to the customer. Okay, only then, they will appreciate the quadrant on the competitive landscape that you're providing. So next is we will start looking. So we have covered all that. How will we sell? We will look at the channels now. Okay, how are we going to go to the customer? So this is all about the sales and conversion process. How do I sell and how do I convert that sale into a money opportunity for the company? Okay. Now there are various ways to sell, right? You can have your own salespeople going and knocking on the doors. Okay. You can have an online web sales, or you can have inside salespeople who keep calling customers and talk to them on the phone and convince them to buy a product. Like, you will see a lot of this telemarketing calls that you get, right? They're all, inside salespeople, trying to call you. Okay. So which of this should you pick? Okay, and there is a method to do that. Okay, and it is this. There are 5 ways to build $100 million company, as we say over here. You see your y-axis, it's in terms of number of users. Are your users in hundreds, thousands, or millions, lakhs or millions, right? And on the x-axis, you will have the annual contract value. How much money is the customer paying you per year? Okay, how much money are you going to make from that particular customer per year? It's the annual contract value from that customer, right? And that's what you will plot. And when you plot this, you will find 5 distinct ways, 5 distinct type of categories of companies that we see over here. Okay, on the topmost you see flies there, right? So flies are companies, which will probably sell $10 per year ad revenue to you. Okay, they will make that kind of ad revenue from you. Okay, now you need 110 million of those people to make that 100 million number. Okay, what is a good example over here? Facebook. Okay, it's like flies. Okay, tens of hundreds of millions coming in, each one paying a few dollars, and that's what is making their billions of revenue, right? The second is the mice category. Okay, you are making 100 bucks, $100 per customer every year, and you're selling them certain service. Okay, you need a million customers to make that 100 million number. Okay, who are the people in this category? Dropbox. Okay, company like Dropbox, that charges you about $100. They fall in this particular category. Then there are rabbits. Okay, these are small medium enterprises. They are making about $1,000 per customer, and so they need about 100,000 customers to make 100 million revenue. We call them rabbits. Okay, and you will see companies like LinkedIn fall in that category. Okay, so LinkedIn, if you look at how they make money from the recruiters and so on, okay, and from business users, that's the model that they have. Okay, so we call them rabbits. Then you have deers. Deers is, you're selling about $10,000 worth uh, to every customer. You need 10,000 customers like this. Okay, so they are medium sized. And a classic example of deers is CRM companies like HubSpot. Okay, they are charging you about $10,000, and they need about 10,000 customers. Okay, so that's the deer category. And then elephant category. So elephant categories are large enterprise solutions that are sold to companies, and the value can be from 100,000 to 1 million to 5 million to 10 million per customer. You need only very few customers over there. So the reason I'm showing you this is the sales complexity. The sales complexity is much higher when your product price is very high, and the sales complexity is much lower when your product price is very low. Okay, so that's why it is important for you to understand where do you belong. Okay, and depending on that, you know, how, what channel will you use to sell to your customer? Will you use a freemium channel? Okay, take free now, pay me for premium features. Okay, will you use web sales? Will you use online sales? Will you use telemarketing and inside sales? Will you use field salespeople who go after and meet customers? Or will you use very targeted account managers who manage only few accounts, but these are very large accounts? Okay. So depending on that, you will decide your strategy. Okay. Am I going to have my own field force? Am I going to have heft, heavyweight people selling elephant? Do I have medical reps selling field sales, right? Do I have telemarketers inside sales? So you will decide, how you want to sell. Because what you have to remember over here, if you see on the top, lower the price of your product, it becomes marketing intensive. Higher the price of your product, it becomes sales intensive. Okay. So because a personalized selling is involved when the product price is very high. Nobody is going to buy $1 million product online. Okay. The salesman has to go there several times, make pitches, make business case studies, and all that kind of stuff they will go through. Again, two ways. Either you do this yourself directly or indirectly. You go through distributors or selling agents who can do this for you. Okay. In this entire thing, you have to remember the buying journey. Okay. What is the buyer's journey? Okay. From the time you have identified that this is a prospect, this is my target. Okay. Taking that down right up to the stage where you're able to sell it, that entire process is the buying journey. So it starts with generating the leads. Okay. So that's where your marketing comes in. Okay. How do I generate leads? I can generate leads by advertising. I can generate leads by email outreach. I can generate leads through webinars that I conduct. I can generate leads by going to trade shows and so on. So there are various ways of generating leads, and we will see those also. Once you have leads, you want to turn them into prospects. Okay. So you want to qualify the leads and say, yes, okay, these are good enough for me to sell. Okay, so when you qualify them and turn them into prospects, okay, the sales comes in and says, okay, let me convert this prospect into a customer. Okay, and then your sale is achieved. So this is called as tofu, mofu, bofu. Tofu is top of the funnel, mofu is middle of the funnel, and bofu is the bottom of the funnel. Okay, and then you have the sales. Okay. So see something interesting. Okay, you are building awareness over here at the top of the funnel. You are educating the leads on the solution choices. Then you're showing why your solution is the best solution available. And then you're delivering on your promise. Your sale is achieved, right? So building awareness, okay, educating the leads on solution choices. Okay, the prospect may be looking for many choices. Then you tell them, see, look, this is not for you, this is not for you, this is not for you, this is what we want. Okay, and that might include some of your competitors. So you'll narrow him down into certain categories. Then you will come in and tell him, see, look, in this category I'm the best. Okay, for you and for your context, for your situation. And that's how you will try to grow the sales. So it will often start with very high number of leads. Okay, and then you start filtering. You start with 100 leads, 20 will convert into prospects, 5 will be sales worthy, and 1 you will sell. So you need to understand your conversions. When you understand these conversions, you will be able to design your marketing in a way to say, okay, I need 10,000 leads in order to close 100 customers or sell to 100 people. So that is how much amplification you need to have in your marketing. Okay. So what does this funnel tell us? It simply tells us, it simply is a way to measure the effectiveness of sales and marketing. Is marketing generating the right leads? Okay. Are we generating enough leads to begin with? Are we generating the right leads? Are we able to convert those leads? That's the sales process, sales effectiveness. Okay. And then how are we selling it? Okay. So this is called the buying journey. This is called the buying journey. Today we have an extended buying journey. Okay. We have extended buying journey because this is like hunting. You find a customer, you hunt the customer down, sell. That is called the hunting process. But today companies go beyond hunting. They go into what we call as farming. You hunt and then you farm. Okay, so I will explain to you the customer journey over here. You attracted a customer, you converted a customer, you closed the customer. Now it's your turn to delight the customers so that these customers go and talk positive things about you. They write good reviews, they have word of mouth, they recommend your products to others. You want to create these promoters. Okay, and that's how your solutions will go viral. So today we talk in terms of this circle, which actually shows you how you attract the customers. Okay, turn them into how do you attract strangers, turn them into prospects, how you engage, so marketing and sales will overlap into engagement of converting them into customers. And then comes the customer delight, right? And who is responsible for customer delight? Your customer success team, okay, or your services team. They are responsible for that. And then the delight will attract more customers for you. Okay, so that's the process that we have. And obviously this again measures not only sales and marketing effectiveness, but it also measures the customer success effectiveness. Okay, today customer success is very, very important in any marketing situation, in any marketing situation. Now I'm going to show you a very interesting metric. Okay, because you're measuring the funnel. So look at this is a very common funnel here in the startup world, which is called as metrics. Okay, it is AARRR. So we call it pirate metrics because that's how pirates talk, right? So we call it pirate metrics. Okay, acquisition, activation, retention, revenue, and referral. Acquire a customer, activate the customer. Okay, then they have the customer use your product, retain the customer, let the customer continue to use your product, get revenue out of the customer. Okay, if it's a freemium model, convert him to paying customer, then provide him such a wow service that the customer will start referring you. Okay, so let's look at this engine, how it works. Okay, you have activation, acquisition, that is how to identify your first users, then activation, how do you give them the right experience with your product, retention, then get revenue out of that. That's where you make sale, and then get referral out of them. So look at this carefully. Okay, I'm going to pull in some annotations over here. Okay, the first thing that is important for a startup is retention. Okay, the first thing that is important for a startup is retention. If I get a customer, will the customer stay with me? Will the customer continue to use the product? Is very important. Okay, so you will see a lot of people, and you yourself might have that experience that you download an app, play with that app, and then just forget that app because that app is not able to retain you. And if the app is not able to retain you, it cannot offer you premium features and convert you into a paying customer. Okay, so in our world, when we do a go to market, we first try to test, whether our product has that retention power. Okay, so look for the retention. Or why? When will you be able to retain the customer? When you are able to create a value for the customer. 70 rupees. Sorry, some queen is talking. So
Ritika, I've muted you just in case you were trying to ask something. You can unmute yourself and ask. At this point, I've muted you.
yeah, so this is the value equation. Are you giving customer more value than you're going to expect from that customer? Is it creating some value for the customer? Okay, so that's your value equation. So you'll first focus on retention. Next step is, if you're able to retain the customer, how do I make that customer pay for my service, right? So next step is, okay, I have given you enough trial to try out my product. You like my product, now start paying for it. Okay, because your 30-day trial expires, or you want some premium features which you will not get unless you pay for it. So the next step is to convert. Okay, so that's where your monetization equation comes in. Okay, how do you try to monetize this customer that you have acquired? Once the customer starts paying you, the customer is already invested in you now. When the customer is invested in you, why is the customer retained and invested in you? Because the customer likes your product. If the customer likes your product, you are going to go through this process and say, okay, now I'm very confident that I can acquire, activate the customer and have them send me referrals. Okay, so this is where your growth engine comes in. Okay, how do you grow? You crank your acquisition, you crank your activation, and you crank your referral. Okay, that's how your growth engine comes in. So this is how we hunker down on the growth engine aspect of it. And very important facet of growth engine is the virality that you try to create through referrals. Okay, so this basically shows you your buying journey, your customer activation journey, your conversions, that can occur, your go to market is looking at all these things and trying to figure out what is the best way to price, position, activate, give that experience to the customer and be a very successful company. So having looked at the sales and conversions, there are other channels that you want to look at. One is the demand generation, right? We said we want leads. So how will you generate demands? You will generate demand either by sending emails out, social media, search engine optimization, okay, SEO, SEM, trade shows, there are various ways to do that. And similarly, your communication. You might do a press release, okay? If you are a B2B company, you might talk to the analyst and tell you, okay, figure me in this quadrant that you're doing and show people where I stand, how I score over competitors. You will take speaking engagements, okay, and you'll go and talk in webinars and seminars, be seen as an authority and start talking about your product. That's what you do. Okay, so there are, in order to do this, there are 19, we call this traction channels, okay, because you get traction from these channels, you generate demand, you convert into sales, similarly you communicate and convert into sales. We call this as traction channels, and there are 19 traction channels. Okay. Why is traction so important? Because traction will lead to growth. There are these 19 channels, and if you go and Google for this book called Traction by Gabriel Weinberg and Justin Maris, you will even get a PDF of this book on the internet. You can just download the PDF and read through this book. This book will talk about all these 19 channels. Okay, this is a very exhaustive list of the 19 channels, but all of them may not be important for you. Some of them may be important, some of them may not be important for you. By and large, these are the channels, which are very popular. Okay, like search engine optimization, marketing, search engine optimization, content marketing, email referrals, business development, trade shows, The one which I like most, is the unconventional PR. Okay, so here you do stunts to get a strong word of mouth out there in the market. And I'll give an example of that. Okay, a classic example I found is a robot building company in India had a robot go and give the TED talk. Okay, had the robot go. It's a brilliant way to market. It's a brilliant way to market. Okay, instantly the press picks it up because press is something new to talk about, and so on. Okay, it's a very brilliant way to market. Okay, so in 2017, I gave a talk here in India in Vikhroli. There was a huge manufacturing conference held there, and I had a small robot, okay, a humanoid from my startup. Okay, all that robot did is walked with me on the stage. Okay, and I was wearing certain sensors, and as I moved my hand, the robot also started moving his hands. Okay, the press was enamored by it. Okay, overnight, we were on television, we were in all the press, and the startup instantly got funding because the word of mouth spread there, right? So unconventional PR, I usually tell people to go for. You want to make sure that you spend your money wisely on picking the right channels. Okay, usually two or three channels work the best for you. Okay, so focus on those channels. You can test market all the channels, okay, slowly with spending little bit of money and see which channel is giving you the right customers, the right leads. Okay, it is not about getting the number of leads, it is about getting the right leads. That is important, and that is what we call as the channel effectiveness. Okay, so, I have seen companies, splurge money. Oh, we got this million customers using our product. Not one is buying. We got million customers, you know. So, you splurge the money trying to acquire customers. That victory of million customers is as good as a defeat, right? And it's an expensive defeat. So, channel effectiveness is very important. Okay, you have to see the bottom line, that how much does it cost you to get one customer by spending on that channel. So let's say, you spend 10,000 rupees on social media marketing. Okay, from that 10,000 rupees, you get 1,000 customers, 1,000 leads. So that means your cost of lead is 10 rupees. Each lead is costing you 10 rupees. And out of those 1,000, only 10 convert. Okay, so you see that the cost of customer acquisition has gone to something like 1,000 rupees, right? Because you spent 10,000 rupees and you got only 10 customers. Okay, so 1,000 rupees. Okay, so that's the equation. How much does it cost for you to acquire the customer? So to summarize this, I'll say know your markets, its size, attractiveness, accessibility, segment your customers to identify the most valuable segments, identify the segment for your market entry. It should not be too small, it should not be too big, it should not be too small because you'll not move the needle, right? Refine your pricing, look at your financials. How much does it cost for me to make the product? Look at the competitors' benchmark and then decide, how do I price it? Craft brand messaging in a way to differentiate, resonate, and substantiate. Competitive positioning, find your value wedge over alternate solutions and hone in onto value wedge. Okay, and amplify that. Find the right channels and optimize them to lower your customer acquisition cost, and define your key performance indices, right? To track, measure. So as you launch the product, you want to continuously monitor what is working, what is not working, right? And you want to keep iterating. You want to keep iterating so that you are on the right track. Okay. Finally, I have to leave you with this thought that the competition out there is very fierce. Okay, so generally startup founders are very passionate, They think this is the only game in town, this is the best product, like they say, every child is dear to his mother, okay, or dear to her mother, okay. So whatever the child may be, it's the same with the startup founders, but you have to make your product remarkable, okay, if you want to be noticed in with the competition. And that's what we call as making a purple cow. Okay, look at the purple cow. It stands out, right? There are all these brown cows there, but moment you see a purple cow, you're intrigued. Hey, what is this? Right? So make something remarkable that is worth talking about, like the purple cow. It is worth noticing. It is exceptional. It is new. It is interesting. Okay. So I would encourage you to read this book called Purple Cow. It's a very old book. I read this book in 1999 and I still remember this purple cow concept from that book. Okay. It talks about how to create remarkable products. Okay. And there are very, very interesting and simple strategies that are outlined in their product. Similarly, the jobs to be done that I spoke about today, the jobs that the customers want get done, know, go Google for JTBD and Google for Christensen, Christensen. Okay, and you Google him on YouTube. This is the professor, okay, who coined this jobs to be done concept, and he very successfully introduced it for McDonald's for a milkshake. Okay, and you will see the concept. You'll see all that I'm talking about. You will see that in real life situations that he explains there. Okay, watch his video. You will see all this on the video. Okay, so important thing is no matter how good your product is, okay, if you don't have an effective way to sell it, it's a bad product, right? So, Vaibhav, I'm going to stop here because I don't think we have enough time to go into the financials. Okay. And if you have any
So,
questions, I think a lot of people have questions. They can ask questions
right.
now.
Right. A couple of things, guys. Again, if you have any questions, please ask them now. I'll request for two things. I've dropped a feedback form about the session in the chat box. Please fill that. We have some raffle prizes for people who fill that in. Second, I'll request all of you to please come on camera so that we can have a nice group photo. Meanwhile, whoever has question, they can go ahead and ask. Thank you, sir. I think just while people are coming up with questions, thank you for the wonderful session. I was deeply engrossed because a lot of terms that you saw, they were so beautifully, simply explained that it kind of made a lot of sense, right? Uh, so thank you so much for that session. Again, I cannot say it enough. Taking a session on a Friday night, working in a very tough industry.
You have
So
to thank
thanks a
my
lot
wife.
for that.
You have to thank my wife for that.
Please,
She
please
let me
thank
go.
them as well. Okay. Guys, if you have any questions, please ask now. Uh, right. I'll also request you to please come on camera, 2 minutes max, so that we can take a group picture. So Queen is here. Hello, Queen. Thank you for joining in.
Hi. Where are you dialing in from, Queen? You're muted. You're muted. I can't hear you.
You're still muted.
Yeah. Yes. Where are you from, Queen?
Nigeria.
Oh, Nigeria.
Thank you for joining in.
Goshal
You
must
can
be from
kindly-
Kolkata. Priyanka Goshal, Priyashri Goshal, you must be from Kolkata, right?
Yes, sir.
You're not related to
I'm
Shreya
from
Goshal.
Kolkata.
You're not related. Yeah, no,
No, no.
I, I, আমি বাংলা বুঝতে পারি কিন্তু ভালো করে বলতে পারি না। I studied in Kharagpur.
Okay, I heard about it from by 5 star.
Okay. And so we have another Bengali, Srija Mukherjee. We have a lot of people from Kolkata, huh?
Since I'm from Kolkata.
Yeah. A lot of people from Kolkata.
Guys, let's just come on camera. I know it is Saturday morning. A lot of you might not be camera ready, but come on, who is? Fine. Ratika, Sushmita, Varshika is here. Thank you, Srija, Priyashri. You guys had your breakfast? Okay.
So, today I had my first, I'm doing another foundation program, right? And, my session starts at 6:30. So I'm up at 5:30 in the morning
Oh,
to do that.
okay. Thank you, sir.
It's a
Hi,
long,
Ratika.
long.
Yes, long day for you. 30 more seconds. Guys, please come on camera. Do a quick picture.
Hello, Ritika Agarwal. Where are you from? Delhi?
Yes, I'm from Delhi.
You're playing a
There are
great
a lot
guessing
of,
game,
lot
sir.
of, lot of Agarwal friends in Delhi. That's why I asked you. Varshika, where are you from?
I'm from Tamil Nadu.
Tamil Nadu. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so I give, ironically, on an entrepreneurship session, I give up waiting for others to come on camera. Or again, old joke, should we wait for 30 seconds? Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, sir. Again, cannot thank you enough for doing this. And thanks to your wife as well. I think she knows she needs more of that from us. Thank you so much for taking this
Okay.
session.
All right. Bye.
Thoroughly
Thank you.
enjoyed it.
Bye. Bye.
Great. Okay. For the others, I'll request, please fill in the feedback form that is there. I've shared it in the chat. Fill that form. That also includes a question at the end that what more of sessions would you like us to host? So you can request for a session and we'll see if we have a speaker on that. Right? Please fill in the feedback form that helps us fine tune the sessions to better prioritize with what you're expecting. And yes, there will be few referral prizes as well. Anyone has any questions on the startathon, you can ask now. So these are already left. So any questions you have on the startathon, you can ask now. Or else, happy Sunday. Thank you.
What are the referral prices?
Right. What would be the raffle prizes is what